countdown in a second. No, we're good.
All right. Good morning to you, meteorologist Dave Nussbaum here and Chris Franklin, both here in the Pinpoint Forecast Center. And now we have tropical depression Harvey. It was a tropical wave really for the last couple of days, even last weekend. It was a tropical system last week.
Right, while in the Caribbean.
In the Caribbean, died in the middle of the Caribbean, which is normal for a weak system to do, and is now redeveloped into the Gulf of Mexico. And that's pretty amazing imagery here. You can see the latest visible.
GO-16 visible imagery. It is trying to get better organized. You don't really find the clear-cut center of circulation, but kind of a wide area of convection. But we would expect that as this strengthens, you're going to see this convection kind of tighten around some center. And actually, that would probably be a better scenario for us if it became a stronger system, because a stronger system tends to kind of contract, and most of the thunderstorm rainfall tends to stay near the center. With these weak systems, storms kind of tend to be all over the place, which would send more rainfall our way as it approaches the Texas coast.
So pretty cool there. Here's the latest, what we know now. Harvey, again, a tropical depression, could become a tropical storm later today and then or Thursday, and landfall expected there on Friday as some heavy rain expected over Texas. And this system is going to be a big issue for Texas because it's likely going to stall there as we head into the weekend. The latest here as of 10 a.m. So right now we're looking at winds of 35, it'll be northwest at 9, pressure 1,006 millibars. Forecast, you can see here, becoming a tropical storm later today. Landfall sometime Friday evening. This is 7:30 right near the Corpus Christi, Texas area. But then if you look here, here's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, not moving much. That means this system is going to spin here and dump an incredible amount of heavy rain over much of Texas as we head into the weekend before it starts kicking our way the end of the weekend into the first part of next week. And we potentially could get some rain. The thing is, as it sits here, it's going to bring those rain bands wrapping around it, and these bands will come on through, and that's what could give us some heavy rain as we head into the upcoming weekend. Right now, hurricane hunters are still flying into it. You can see them kind of working their way through. They've seen some wind gusts around 41 miles per hour, pressure as low as 1,006 millibars. Looks like the center of circulation probably not up to the north, but down to the bottom here a little bit. Not too far, just due west of the Yucatan Peninsula there so far from what we're seeing out there today. But the forecast models, Chris, have been kind of somewhat agreeing.
Yeah, and I'm just going to show you this one. This is the GFS model. So, kind of showing you here is around the center of what is and what will continue to develop as Harvey, moving toward the Texas coast. And really, most of the modelers are in pretty good agreement, somewhere in the Big Bend area of Texas sometime late on Friday. The big question is then, what does it do once it is inland? Because we are still on the wet side. Remember, on these tropical systems, east side is the wet side. So that keeps us on the wet side. This is as of Monday. Tuesday, later in the day, this is the GFS model, actually has the system quickly moving up along an upper trough out to our east, which would be great news for us. This is the model we want to pan out, because this has the system moving very rapidly to the east by about Tuesday. This is another model. This is the European model. And again, consensus on where this is going to make landfall around the Big Bend area of Texas. But notice this, by Monday, the system is still to our east. In fact, the European model actually has it getting back out over the coastal waters of Texas. But the point of this is we are still on the wet side of the storm come Monday afternoon. Remember, the GFS was already pushing out to our east. So that's going to be the big concern, as to not really intensity of this system and landfall. The question is going to be where it sits and for how long, because that will determine how much rain we see around southeast Louisiana come this weekend, and then how long into next week. One model has it moving out by Monday, others Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe Thursday, still sitting off to our east, or off to our west.
And so what we're looking at so far is, with the system being off to our west, bands of rain are to come on through. It won't be a continuous shield like Texas will see. So as we're getting up into Saturday and Sunday, we can still get some heavy rain,
right,
but it may be a band of heavy rain come in, then it'll stop for a while. Then another band of heavy rain will come in, then it'll stop for a while, until we get the system to actually move over top of us, which we're just showing here, except for the European, potentially Tuesday of next week.
Right. Now, the European, at least from what I'm seeing, it looks like it's not seeing this upper trough that's going to be coming in and Harvey being picked up by that, whereas the GFS appears to be responding to this upper trough that'll be coming in and moving out quickly. So it'll be a question of when this trough gets in, and at the moment it's still pretty far off the west coast of the U.S., so we're not getting a whole lot of model data on it just yet, but it'll be a matter of does Harvey get picked up by this trough come early next week, or does the trough miss it and Harvey doesn't have much in the way of steering and it just sits for several days? And like you said, it's not going to be a shield of rain over us, but it'll really depend on where some of these little feeder bands kind of set up. If you're underneath one of those bands, we could see in excess of 5 plus 7. I hate to go higher than that, but it could be. Whereas, you know, so many miles to the east or west of that band, you get maybe a couple of inches, if that.
Now here's kind of an estimate so far from the earlier model data. We'll get these updates later today. This is that GFS model that Chris was showing, the preferred model we would like to have. Still showing about 4, 6 inches, 8 inches of rain across part of southeast Louisiana. Look at Houston, Lake Charles, over 9 inches of rain there. But then you look at the European, again, this is the slower model, 17 inches of rain potentially in Houston, but still about 4 inches of rain for us. Now this is till Wednesday 10 a.m., so we're talking roughly a whole week, and however the bulk of this will occur later this weekend and into next week. So that's a big difference out there with what we're going to see with the rain. So one of these things, now that it's a named system and an actual closed low is found, forecast models can now attach themselves to something. There was nothing really to attach it to earlier, and that's why the models were spread all over the place in the Texas coastline. So the hurricane hunters continue to fly into it. They're ingesting all this data into the new forecast. The 12Z model data coming in here in a little while should have some of that data for sure. The latter part of the 18Z and 0Z models will have more data into it. So throughout the day today, definitely for tomorrow, we'll have a better idea and a little more accuracy of where the system goes. And then if that trough comes in, I think it's Friday, it should hit the West Coast. So we'll finally get some upper air data to see, okay, is it going to pick it up? Is it going to miss it? You know, is it going to sit over top of us for a few days? Which we hope not.
I think the next 48 hours, I don't want to say is certain, but we have a pretty good grasp of what's going to happen within the next 48 hours. Moving toward the Texas coast as either a strong tropical storm, maybe a weak Category 1 hurricane moving inland. After that is the question, is the big uncertain. So this weekend and into early next week is going to be our big uncertainty. We're going to get rainfall from this, no question, but will the upper trough pick it up? If it does, it's moving out of here maybe by Monday. If it doesn't and it misses it, then Harvey has no steering currents and unfortunately sits along the northern Gulf Coast for possibly several days.
And we have that front coming in as we get into Thursday, more so into Friday. That's going to bring some heavy rain. Has nothing to do with Harvey. So that's what's going to interact. Harvey's going to interact with that. It's also going to interact with high pressure building in the Bermuda highs building our way. Two factors which is blocking it from coming our way. So we like the fact that those are coming in. Unfortunately, we're still going to get some rain.
We'll still get rain from it, but we won't get a direct landfall from Harvey. But that's why sometimes showing you those spaghetti plots can be misleading, because it looks like, oh, it's going to our west. Not a problem. It's a Texas storm. But we like showing you. That's why we need to show you everything, because when we show you models like this, you see, well, okay, it's not even close to southeast Louisiana, but okay, wait a minute. We're on the wet side of this, and this storm is going to be dumping substantial amounts of tropical moisture. And again, if this thing moves back out over the coast, it's just more fuel, and we could see it strengthen again and bring us even more rainfall. So as of right now, between those two major models, the U.S., which is the GFS, and the European, we do not like the European output at all. The European for us is a bad scenario, because that keeps it kind of meandering over Texas, possibly parts of Louisiana, and has us under days of rainfall.
So here's what we can expect for us as of right now. What we know. We're now going to get ready for some heavy rain. The rain we'll get tomorrow and on Fridays from that front. But as we head into the end of the weekend and into the first part of next week, again, depending on the track, do plan for heavy rain. 5, 6, 7 inches. Not out of the question in some spots. We can see that much.
And that'll be over the course of several days. This is not a
2-hour
one-time type thunderstorm like we saw a couple of weeks ago.
So this is spread out over a couple of days. We kind of showed you. The other thing is going to be we're going to see some sort of tides coming up.
Oh, absolutely.
Depending
on
how strong the system is, maybe a storm surge. Too early to say exact numbers, but based off of similar type storms, Texas would have the greatest height in the storm surge. Grand Isle, eastern facing shores, 1 to 3 feet. Just plan for that. In general.
All the areas outside of the levee protection system. So the Wrigley's, Venetian Isles, anyone outside of the levee protection system. Strong east and southeasterly winds are going to increase those water levels by quite a bit, especially if it's sustained for several days.
Because that's going to continue to bring in that water. So it may not necessarily be a surge, just coastal flooding. Just like we get under southerly easterly winds there. The other thing that looks like, based off of what we're seeing here, we're going to be in that right front quadrant. So that means there is the potential for waterspouts and tornadoes.
These
Tropical
type thunderstorms that develop can easily produce waterspouts, and on a not rare, but they can easily move inland, and so areas right along any of your coastlines could see these move inland and create a little bit of damage.
So we're going to watch out for all of that too, is to get not again today, not tomorrow, not even necessarily Friday as much, more so later this weekend and into
early next week. And hopefully by Monday, Tuesday, the upper trough will have picked it up. And we'll be gone. As a matter of fact, I was looking at the models. The GFS has like a 20% chance for showers on Tuesday, whereas this, we'd still be under, 80 to 100% rain coverage through maybe Wednesday or Thursday.
The GFS also shows the front passing by would bring some nice weather.
Right, would actually bring us great weather once
Yes.
Harvey moves. So the GFS is the best case scenario for us, whereas the Euro, literally the two models are best and worst case scenarios for Southeast Louisiana.
So we'll have to wait and see. Again, it's one of those, you hate to say that, but I mean, we're days away. Again, like what Chris said, uncertainty, nothing we have to worry about in 48 hours.
Right.
It's after that, into the weekend, really into next week.